षड्दोषाः पुरुषेणेह हातव्या भूतिमिच्छता निद्रा तन्द्रा भयं क्रोध आलस्यं दीर्घसूत्रता.
Tonight, we sit with one of the most practical verses in all of Sanskrit literature. It comes from the Mahabharata, from the counsel of Vidura, and it is nothing less than a complete diagnosis of why capable people fail to flourish. Listen to the verse first. Shaddoshaha purushena iha hatavyaha bhutim ichata nidra tandra bhayam krodha ālasyam dīrghasūtratā. 6 faults must be abandoned by the person who desires prosperity: sleep, drowsiness, fear, anger, laziness, and procrastination. Let us take the words slowly. Shat means 6. Dosha means faults, from the root dush, to spoil, to corrupt. A dosha is not a sin, it is a corruption of something that was meant to function well. The same word Ayurveda uses for the body's energies gone out of balance. Purushena, by a person, and the grammar here is beautiful. It is the instrumental case, which means you are the instrument of the abandoning. No teacher, no God, no employer can drop these faults for you. Iha means here, in this world, and that little word matters enormously. This is not a verse for monks renouncing the world. This is worldly wisdom, and it blesses your ambition. Hatavya, they must be abandoned, from the root ha, to release, to let go. And bhutim, prosperity, comes from the root bhu, which means to be, to become. So bhuti is not a pile of gold. Bhuti is becomingness itself, the state of continuously growing into a fuller life. Ichchata, by the one who desires it, actively, ongoingly. Now the 6 faults. Nidra is sleep, and here it means sleep beyond your need, unconsciousness chosen over life. Tandra is subtler, and it may be the most modern word in the verse. Tandra is drowsiness while awake. The eyes are open, the body is upright, but attention has left the building. Bhayam is fear, the contraction that kills action before it begins. Krodha is anger, from the root krud, to burn, the fire that destroys action already underway. Ālasyam is laziness, and its etymology is pure poetry. It comes from the root las, which means to shine, to play, to be lively, with the negative prefix a. So ālasya literally means the state of not shining. Laziness is your light switched off. And finally, dīrghasūtratā, procrastination, and this compound is unforgettable. Dīrgha means long, sutra means thread. Dhritarashtra is long-thread-ness, the habit of the weaver who keeps stretching the thread longer and longer and never cuts it, never ties the knot, never finishes the cloth. Where does this verse come from? Picture the scene, because it is midnight in the palace of Hastinapura and a king cannot sleep. War is coming between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. The blind king Dhritarashtra is eaten alive by anxiety, and he calls for his half-brother Vidura, the wisest and most honest man in the kingdom, a man denied the throne because of his mother's low birth, yet regarded by tradition as dharma itself walking in human form. The king says, "I am burning and I cannot sleep, speak to me." And Vidura speaks through the night in what we now call the Vidura Niti, one of the greatest ethical discourses ever composed. This verse is among his opening lines. And here is the heartbreaking irony. Vidura lists 6 faults to a man who has all 6. Dhritarashtra is spiritually asleep to his son Duryodhana's crimes. He is drowsy, half attentive to dharma. He fears his own son's displeasure. He flashes into anger at hard truths. He is too passive to enforce what he knows is right. And above all, he procrastinates the one decision that could prevent the war. He hears this wisdom, praises it, thanks Vidura, and does nothing. The war comes. The Mahabharata is showing us the most human tragedy of all, the gap between knowing the good and doing it. Now look deeper, because these 6 are not a random list. They are a system, 3 pairs. Nidra and Tandra are failures of consciousness, energy absent. Bhayam and Krodha are failures of emotion, energy hijacked. Because fear is energy fleeing the task and anger is energy attacking the obstacle. And modern physiology tells us fight and flight are one and the same response wearing 2 masks. Ālasya and dīrghasūtratā are failures of will, energy unclaimed. One never starts, the other starts and never finishes. Together they map the complete anatomy of how intention dies. Before waking, in the heart and in the hands. And notice what the verse does not say. It does not say acquire courage, cultivate calm, build discipline. It says remove, hatavyaha. This is prosperity by subtraction. Flourishing, the verse implies, is your natural state. It does not need to be manufactured. It needs to be unblocked, the way a sculptor releases the figure from the marble, not by adding stone, but by taking it away. Modern science keeps rediscovering Vidura. Psychologists speak of an inverted curve of arousal, where too little energy and too much energy both destroy performance. That is exactly this list. Sleep, drowsiness and laziness on the low side, fear and anger on the high side. Researchers on procrastination have found it is not laziness at all, but an impulsive escape from tasks that feel threatening, which is precisely why Vidura lists laziness and procrastination as 2 separate faults. And when a psychologist recently named the modern epidemic of joyless, half-present functioning, languishing, he was describing Tandra 25 centuries later. So how do we live this verse? Ask yourself 3 questions. First, of the 6, which is my gatekeeper fault? The one that feeds the others. For many of us, fear wears the costume of laziness. We say, I don't feel like it, when the truth is, I am afraid it won't be good enough. Second, where in my life am I keeping a thread deliberately long because finishing the work would expose it to judgment? Third, when today was I in Tandra, awake and absent at the same time? And what was I avoiding by being half present? And here is your practice, starting tonight. For 7 days, keep a small card with 6 words on it. Nidra, Tandra, Bhayam, Krodha, Ālasyam, dīrghasūtratā. Each evening, take 2 minutes and mark which of the 6 visited you that day and when. No guilt, no punishment. These faults thrive on invisibility, and abandoning begins with seeing. After a week, your tally marks will show you your gatekeeper, and add one companion habit. Once each day, take one small lingering task, the unsent message, the unfinished form, and complete it fully. Cut the thread, tie the knot, feel that distinct satisfaction of something truly finished. That feeling is bhuti beginning, the quiet hum of a life becoming what it was meant to become. Shaddoshaha purushena, iha hatavyaha bhutimichchata. 6 faults released. And what remains when they are gone is you shining.
षड्दोषाः पुरुषेणेह हातव्या भूतिमिच्छता निद्रा तन्द्रा भयं क्रोध आलस्यं दीर्घसूत्रता